next speaker to empower us today on this exceptional educational event is Dr. T.P. Sreenivasan. He is a former Indian diplomat and is the head of the Council for Higher Education of the state of Kerala and Executive Vice President with the rank of Vice Chancellor. After completing his college education, joined in Indian Foreign Service and delegated many assignments. Mr. Sreenivasan has a creditable academic track record, having stood first in the University of Kerala in BA English and MA English. He has won several distinctions during his student days. He is a polyglot and has nearly 20 years of experience in multilateral diplomacy and has represented India at a number of international conferences organized by the United Nations, the Commonwealth, and the Non-Aligned Movement. He has chaired several UN committees and conferences. Mr. Sreenivasan was the Executive Director of IAEA 2020, a project launched by the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Vienna. He is presently the Chairman of the Academic Council and Director of NSS Civil Service Academy and the Director General, Kerala International Center. He also contributes articles regularly to Indian and foreign publications, such as the Asia Wall Street Journal, New York Times, The Hindu, The Times of India, etc. He is the author of 7 books: Words, 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 Adventures in Diplomacy, Encounters, Mattering to India, etc. May I request Dr. T.P. Sreenivasan to address this mega event. Sir, please.
Good evening, everyone. I was just asking whether I am the last speaker of today. Is it so? Are there more speakers? All right. Because I have a joke about the last speaker. That's why I asked that question. You know, when we speak at the United Nations, we don't speak to the audience. It doesn't matter who is in the audience. You speak for the audience back home, how you project your country to the rest of the world. So even if there is nobody in the audience, we speak, because it is all projected the way it wants. And one day I was speaking on a very important subject, and there was only one person in the audience. So I was quite astonished why he was there, because the time was rather late. And I thought to myself that he must be a great friend of India. He has taken the trouble to sit there and listen to me as one person. So I did my speech. It didn't matter to me whether there was an audience or not. You know, for example, in the US Congress, you are not allowed to take a picture of the audience. You can only take a picture of the speaker, because normally there is nobody in the audience. So this is an international practice, because speeches are made for different purposes. Anyway, I finished my speech and walked up to him and said, I'm very grateful to you for having stayed for my speech. Obviously, you are a friend of India, or India must have been good to you, or you have been good to India. I gave him several options for him to answer. Then he says, oh, nothing like that. He dismissed all my propositions and said, I am the next speaker. He was waiting to speak. He was the last speaker. So I suppose all of you are here are next speakers. That's probably why you are here at this time. But let me say how delighted I am to be here after a few years. I was here before 3 or 4 years ago. And I love this atmosphere. I love the campus. I love the school. I love the principal. There are so many reasons why I'm here. But I had no clue that I would be here today. It is the most exceptional circumstances in which I came. Because I told the principal that I am not likely to come, because I can't be out of Trivandrum for more than a few hours. And so I did not accept the invitation for quite some time. And that is because my wife was very sick. And then on the 9th of January, she passed away. And that was a shock of my life. My wife of 55 years disappearing, into thin air. That changed my life immensely. And many people who came to see me said, the only way you can survive is by being more active. Then I said, okay, let me pick up the first invitation I received from Dr. because my children who had come to see me had left this morning, early morning, and I came back home and found it was empty. And I said, the only solace is to go to Calicut, participate in this conference, and gain some strength for myself. Thank you for inviting me. From the description of my life or biodata here, you didn't hear the word education even once. Because it talked about diplomacy, it talked about Atomic Energy Agency, it talked about disarmament, it talked about various things. But one thing I had not done in my life is to teach or educate. After 1 year of college teaching, soon after my graduation. And then, like we had an accidental prime minister, I became an accidental educationist. Because the chief minister, Mr. Omanjandi, told me when I came back after 40 years abroad, that he would like me to head the Higher Education Council. I had not even heard about it, because I never lived here. So I asked him why, because I have no experience, and the qualification for the vice chairman is written there as preferably a former vice chancellor. So the chief minister held on to that preferably. He said, it doesn't say it should be a vice chancellor, preferably a vice chancellor, but anybody else can also do the job. And the point he made was that I would like this state, the education is here, to know what is out there. How is it that a university like Harvard is respected all around the world? What is the secret? How do universities function abroad? And we may be able to learn from them, because we are trying to reinvent the wheel, new education system, new ways of pedagogy, etc. But there must be some good models around the world. We don't know anything about it. Some people go and learn, come back. But systematically, we have not explored the way we can get hold of what is the best and then save a lot of time practicing, researching, repeating, and trying to find a way. And this is the thing that I tried to do in my 5 years. I failed miserably because there was no interest at all in our circles, except for very few educationists, in learning about what is happening in the world. Internationalization was a dirty word at that time, because they all believed in Gurukula Vidyabhyasam and we learn our things ourselves. Why go after other universities? Why should we spend money on bringing them here? All kinds of questions. Nobody wanted to grasp what we could do in a short time, what we are continuing to do to learn and create new educational systems. But finally, after 15 years, the present government of Kerala decided not only to invite private universities, but also foreign universities to Kerala. This is a miracle. I don't know how it happened, but I express my sincere appreciation for the change of heart, because they were the ones who had opposed all my proposals up to 2016. So we are in a new world altogether. I do not know when the foreign universities will come, when the private universities will come. But what we needed was a change of heart, a change in our approach to education, to see it as something which is global, something which we can exchange, something which we can learn from each other. Just to open the windows to the world. Mahatma Gandhi once said, I want all my doors and windows to be open, so that all cultures, all civilizations, all thoughts can go through it, and blow through my home. But I'll do one thing. I shall not allow my house to be blown off. So we welcome all ideas, but if we stand firm on the ground and allow all these to come through, you will be a richer nation. And why should the Keralites be afraid of international exposure, international influences? Every civilization, every culture, every religion, every way of life came through Kerala into India. It was because of our broad-mindedness, because of the happy, fresh air we had over the seas, Everything has come through us. And it has enriched us. It has created a new civilization, a new culture in which Kerala, which is tolerant, which is appreciative of Western other cultures, and also adopted many religions and many cultures and many methodologies ourselves. So Kerala should be the last state in India to oppose internationalization of education. But unfortunately, we did that. So where are we going from now? If we are able to, people wonder why any foreign university should come to India. I asked several important universities, if you get an opportunity, will you come to India? And what are you going to do here? What is your purpose? Are you willing to spend your money? They said, India is the biggest human laboratory in the world. Without access to India, we cannot develop our knowledge, whether it is good or for bad, whether it is the population management, whether it is the freedom struggle, whether it is the experiments we have done in many, many areas, success or otherwise. India is the most vibrant society in the world. We have no prejudices. We have all ideas, ideologies. We are not stuck on anything. So they said, we will not come there to make money from you. We will not come to do any business in India. But the very fact that we can observe things in India without any constraints, that will be the greatest achievement that we'll have. But then we did not allow it. We thought that this would all be one-sided exploitation of India. And so, with this change of heart, change of mind, I think we will be able to move forward. I do not want to go into all the details, but I would like to say that Indian education needs 6 important things. These are not new. We are always aware of all this. But even today, after many years of independence, in all these 6 fields, we are not completely satisfied. We have failed in many of those. We do attend to these ideas occasionally, but we do not focus on it and we do not make an assessment as to what your accomplishments are. And these are very, very ordinary things. First of all, infrastructure. This school is very fortunate to have probably the best infrastructure in any village, rural background in India. But I studied in a school which was leaking all the time from the roof, and we had to move around whenever there was rain. And that situation exists even today in India. Schools fall down, snakes come out of the holes. So infrastructure is important. We cannot say, like in that old saying, poverty, hunger, all the signs of good scholars. Good scholars should not have good infrastructure. That is the psychological barrier that we have. We think that they must be poor, they must be hungry, then they'll be better scholars. Secondly, teachers' training. When I passed my master's degree in English literature from Trivandrum, I did not know what to do. And I was walking around in Trivandrum and I happened to meet the principal of Marivanis College, who had seen me in some elocution competitions, etc. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I have written the examination masters, but my results have not come." He said, "Doesn't matter, I know you will pass. Come and teach English in Marivanis College, one of the best colleges in Trivandrum." I did not have a single minute of training. Even the principal did not tell me how I should teach. And he gave me the first class I went to was MA first year, postgraduate. And nobody told me how to teach, what to teach, how to teach it. But since I had just come out of MA's second year, I knew what the MA first year should be doing. And nobody asked me to do anything and I did it my own way. And if I had not joined the Foreign Service, I would have been a senior professor of English literature without a minute of training. Can it be more pathetic than that? And is training so difficult to get? I tried during my vice chairmanship of the education. I said, training is the easiest thing that you can do. When you hire 6 teachers, put them in the class of the senior most teacher of the college. Let them sit there 3 weeks, 4 weeks and watch. Do you know? Not a single college listened to that advice. Because the young teachers were not willing to be shaped by the old teachers. And the old teachers did not want, them to, in any case, emulate them. So, without any institution, without any expenditure, you can train your teacher. But can you believe that no educational institution in India till today has accepted this advice? And these are the kind of problems we have. So teachers' training is very important because the teachers teach the same thing over and over again, what they have learned 30 years ago. Even today, they do not know what is happening in technology. They don't know how to use it. And that was the third thing that I said, use of technology. When I said in 2011 that we need to have massive open online courses in Indian universities, nobody touched it because they said, no, we prefer direct face-to-face education. But what happened in 2019? Our children were climbing trees to get internet connection and falling down from it. If only we had thought 2011 of online education, how much better we would have fared at the time of the pandemic. Then we were running helter-skelter to give education to our children. Computers are there in every college. But how many professors open their computers? I have seen in every principal's room there is a computer covered with plastic and a flower vase on top of it. So I asked one principal, Madam, do you use this computer? He said, what are you talking? If I use this computer, it will go bad and the government will stop my pension. I said, then I will stop your pension now because this computer will not work because you have not touched it for 4 years. And once I insisted that I want to see the computer lab of a college. There were again everybody running helter-skelter. Nobody knew where the key was or the computer lab because they've never used it. So finally a young man produced a key and opened it. We went inside and switched on the power and there was an explosion. We just saved ourselves because nobody had touched the computer lab. This is really true. You go to any college and find out how much of computer do they use. Then autonomy, another dirty word. No autonomy is possible because the government is giving money to the university, so the university is not autonomous. He has to stand in front of the education minister to get their money. And therefore, when you say autonomy for the colleges, universities oppose. We don't have autonomy, why the hell should these people have autonomy? And we created 20 autonomous colleges in the whole of Kerala, and it has not expanded. And these 20 colleges have become the best colleges in Kerala. But still, nobody has accepted more autonomy. Research, probably the poorest area in which we do research. What is research for us? Gathering of information. We used to joke about our principal who got a PhD. And somebody read it and found what he did was, he read all the books on T.S. Eliot and copied the sentences he did not understand. He didn't copy the ones he understood because that he thought somebody might guess. And in my own time, there was a Pro-Vice Chancellor who got his PhD and it was proved that 62% of it was copied. It was proved. And we could not dismiss him because this is what everybody does. So what is the purpose of research? We do not know what we are trying to do. How many patents have we got? How many Nobel Prizes have we got? After C.V. Raman and Tagore, we haven't seen a Nobel Prize. Unless, of course, you are an Indian studying in America or UK. Then you get Nobel Prizes. Why? Because research is fundamental to higher education. And lastly, internationalization. Internationalization has been part of Indian education for thousands of years. We know about scholars from China and Europe coming to Kerala, learning Malayalam and writing books. If it's not internationalization, what is it? And we go abroad. You go to any American university and look for the brightest professor. It will always be somebody who did school education in Kerala. It should have moon in it, sun in it, breeze in it, a beach in it. There it comes, the poem just comes out. If you want to write a novel, just type out the theme that you want. A novel it will produce. Literally. You have to see it to believe it. So then what happens? Somebody said that we always look for the evils of technology. But there are evils of technology real. You are the one who said it, right? You know what Yuval Harari, the famous historian of the future, he calls himself. He said this world will end not with nuclear technology, not with pandemics, not with war. It will end by making human beings worthless. How do you become worthless? Because you cannot cope with technology beyond a point. He said you cannot turn a truck driver into a computer operator. So if everything shifts, what the truck driver was doing, shifts to computers, he has no way other than to retire. Because he will become irrelevant, he will become worthless in the society. And that is the biggest evil of technology. Because human brain becomes irrelevant in societies. But how do you do that? You have to go ahead of it. You have to go ahead of what is happening. My son taught new media in the Columbia School of Journalism. Somebody asked him, how do you teach new media? Everybody has access to new media. So what are you going to teach? You switch on the computer, let them all search. He said, no. I search more than my students. That is the only way. Because if you read or search less than your students, they will beat you in class. They will tell you, I know more than you. So he developed a computer in which he had 4 screens to search at the same time. So this is what we need to do. We need to be ahead of technology. Let us write all the novels on ChatGPT. Let's see what happens. There will be no meaning in creative writing. At the moment, it is very primitive in the sense that it cannot match the human brain or the human imagination. But the possibilities are immense and frightening. If you tell me this technology is not harmful, I wouldn't accept that, because that would make creative thinking unnecessary and irrelevant, because the machine can do it better. If a computer can do better than President Biden, what would be the future of the world? So, this is important because we need to stay ahead of technology. Because technology will never end. There will be further and further frontiers to go to. And new generations will take over this, and people who used to do traditional thinking, traditional jobs, will certainly realize that they have to now withdraw from the scene. And that's what will happen to all of us. If you want to switch on your television, you have to call your 8-year-old grandson, isn't it? Even an ordinary television set you cannot operate these days because of all the smart things that they have. How do you switch from Netflix to Asianet? I still don't know. I call my grandchild and he'll do it. And he will also say, Daddy, you know nothing. I said, yes, we know nothing. I can't switch on my television set. Otherwise, I have to take down notes from in turn left, turn right, click this, and then you find out. So if you don't catch up with technology, you will become worthless. And a society with so many worthless human beings is not going to do much progress. So that is why it's important for all of us to be relevant. And some of these things, the 6 things that I've been talking about, we have not made much progress. But we need to make more progress. And we need to adapt ourselves to the situation and try and have an open mind and ability to absorb things like our grandfathers did when they accepted Christianity or Islam or Buddhism or whatever with an open mind. And the same spirit of experimentation, spirit of implementation, the spirit of absorption, all these are necessary in education. And unfortunately, we do not have them at the moment. Thank you very much. I'll stop here. If there are questions, I shall be happy to answer.